Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry, and I actually have a day off today, and it's a Monday. I work Saturday, so usually if I work a Saturday, I end up with a Monday off. My wife is usually um, doesn't overwork me too much. She recognizes I'm getting a little older, and besides that, we've been really blessed the last few years, and although here we are, March, beginning of March, and although winters can be quite slow, this actually has been a really good winter for us. I did take a couple of weeks off in February anyway. I had my surgery and I recovered from that fine, and it was only um, there was nothing, it wasn't a serious thing, it was just something that needed to be dealt with, and I had 2 weeks of not moving much at all, actually, because the post-surgery was quite a painful experience. And if you want to find out what it was all about, just look up, go on YouTube, and you can look up green laser prostate surgery. And apparently about 50% of men end up with issues with the prostate, and I'm not talking about cancer. And they do have ways of dealing with it now that they a lot less traumatic than it used to be, but nevertheless, it's not a very pleasant thing to go through. I basically, I had very little sleep for, well, at least a week there, because I was, yeah, it was, I actually had to sleep in my recliner chair, partly so I didn't disturb my wife, because I was constantly getting up, and I didn't sleep much at all. It was, that was the worst part of it. That's the pain of every time I had to do my business, Oh my goodness. And unbelievable. But it's over and done with, and I managed to survive. So that's sort of the thing about getting older is we get to, I guess every new decade we get a new thing, right? Anyway, so that wasn't the reason I was going to post this video. The video is actually, I wanted to talk about something that is an advice I have for my fellow carpet cleaners out there. Something that could save you a tremendous amount of grief and perhaps even a lot of money. And it's a very simple thing. And I've had employees a few times over the years, and the very first thing that I tell an employee when they get into the vehicle with me, I say, okay, here is the most important thing you must remember right from the beginning. Whenever you are using a spotter bottle, or you're using a rag, or whatever it is you're using, absolutely never, ever, ever, ever put it down on a countertop or a piece of furniture. It doesn't matter what it is. Never do that. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because you might have something that you're taking a spot out with, a bottle of whatever, and maybe a little dribble of it has gotten to the bottom of the bottle, and you go and you put it on top of someone's coffee table, and it leaves a mark. And that is not an uncommon thing to see happen in people's homes if you're using different types of spotters. And maybe what you're using is safe today, but you get into the habit of not putting things on the floor because that's where it needs to go, and maybe you just haven't sort of programmed yourself to never put something on the countertop or onto the piece of furniture, a coffee table or whatever. And if you do that one time, and it's something that actually will make a permanent mark on somebody's fine piece of furniture. What a headache. What a terrible thing to have to deal with, and could be very, very expensive. Even when you go into the kitchen and you're mixing up your product at the kitchen sink, it's really a bad idea to put your jug of solution on the countertop. I know that it's very easy to do, and sometimes I catch myself doing it, but it really isn't a very wise thing to do. I mean, even if it's the laminate cabinet countertops actually are more resilient, I guess. But some of these stone type, like the limestone and or even the quartz or whatever, sometimes what we're using could actually cause a permanent mark, and wow, what a terrible thing that would be. So I have seen a few videos of different guys, mixing up their product or putting their bottle of product, maybe even on a pony wall or whatever. Even sometimes, depending on what you're using, it's not a bad idea to have like a maybe a spotter towel sitting on the floor. If you're putting it on a hardwood floor, putting your bottle onto that or an extra pad. And the other thing is too, when you're using your products, whatever you use, always make sure you go and put it back at where you came into the house, rather than sort of leaving a bottle here and there throughout the house. You're more than likely going to end up maybe forgetting something. I try to be very diligent, and when I use my spotters, if it's not something that I actually carry with me all the time, and there's a few that I do, but I have a spotting tray. But when I'm finished with it, say I'm using my OMS um, product, which I don't use very often, but once in a while when I do, when I'm finished with it, I go and I take it back right to the front door where I have the spotter tray, and I put it right back there. I don't, you know, leave it laying around here and there. But one thing I am very, very careful of, I don't leave it sitting on top of a cabinet or a bookshelf or wall, pony wall, even the top of the pony wall where it's painted or whatever. It's really a wise thing to um, train yourself to get into the habit of not putting these bottles and even your spotting towel. I mean, imagine if you had just taken out something using solvent, and you've got your spotting towel, you're not thinking about it, and you drop it down under someone's um, top of their coffee table or whatever, and you don't realize that that solvent you've got in there actually is etching the finish on that particular piece of furniture. I mean, what a disaster. Um, and Even putting down your pads on people's furniture or their couch or the drive block, setting it on someone's bedding or whatever. Not a good idea, guys. I've been in this a long time, and um, I've seen these things happen. I've seen these mistakes result in very expensive problems. I've never done that myself. I mean, I have a few times caught myself putting something down on like a coffee table or whatever, and I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta not do that. So, anyway, it's a habit that we can get into bad habits. We need to train ourselves to have good habits for the sake of our customers and for our own sakes. I mean, the last thing we want to do is have the customer call up and say, hey, there's a water ring that I can't get off of my coffee table, and I noticed you put one of your bottles of spotter there. Can you come by and take a look at this? And oh, imagine what you would feel, the sinking feeling you'd have in your heart if you had that phone call. So there's my advice to all of us to just be careful in our customers' homes, that we have to anticipate what could happen. And this is something that could happen, is damage to the furniture, because we're just not really being diligent, and we've got a bad habit. So there's my thought for today, and I hope that it will save somebody a lot of grief. So have a good day.